Welcome to the Explain It To Me podcast. EITM is about info without gatekeeping and encouraging curiosity, community, and education without drowning in jargon. This is the second episode about my favorite TV show of all time. But it is also one that can seem overwhelming to approach or get into. Namely, today we're talking about Doctor Who. Before we get started on the modern era and how best to try it out, please like, rate, and subscribe so the algorithms let us grow EITM into what I believe it can be. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so if you haven't caught the last episode, feel free to go back and hear my intro to what is Doctor Who. It's actually the title. And why I think you should care and why I think you should try it out. Either way, today I'm going to try to explain to you how the show has worked since its return in 2005. Where to start, what you should definitely not, and what you could skip. A general lay of the land. I will do my best to avoid spoilers, so you can enjoy the episodes without too much of my bias taking away from the twists and turns. Go in more fresh. As I always try to do, especially here with the EITM, is that this is meant to be me pitching the show to a friend, not trying to make you feel bad about not already liking a thing, or me assuming you know things you might not. You might not like Doctor Who in the end. I only ask you to keep an open mind and give it a shot. Please, let me share this thing that I love and know about so that you can at least learn a thing or two about it, even if it doesn't end up being your thing. Okay, so since 2005, there have been 6 main actors playing the Doctor on the show. One of them played it more than once, but we'll get there later. Number-wise, that is the 9th through 15th Doctors. Actor name-wise, that's Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, Jodie Whittaker, David Tennant again, and the current Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa. Episode-wise, since 2005, there have been 14 seasons, plus 27 specials, almost all of which are Christmas/New Year's or 50th/60th anniversary episodes. All told, equaling 188 episodes if you count the ones that haven't yet aired at the time of recording of this of the current season. Okay, so how does that break down? Well, the 9th Doctor only did 1 season, and the 15th is filming his 2nd as we speak. The 10th through 13th each did 3 full seasons. If you noticed, I skipped the 14th, as the 2nd David Tennant run was only 3 60th anniversary specials last year, and not a proper season, or as the Brits call it, a series. Okay, anyway, let's break it down. The 2 easy ways to sort the eras of the modern show are by 1, regenerations, or 2, companions. As I mentioned in my last video, modern companions typically serve as a point of view POV character and people the Doctor gets to dump exposition on. So they/we are up to speed on the historical/cosmic stuff going on. Similarly, if the companion is some sort of mystery or plot-driven person, then in that case, just like when someone new comes aboard the TARDIS, whose character arc isn't so clear, when they join the show is basically inviting you to jump aboard as well. More broadly, companions tend to be tied to specific Doctors. There are exceptions. Rose was with both 9 and 10. Claire was with the 11th and the 12th. And in my mind, she was a lot better with the 12th, i.e. Capaldi, than with 11, with Matt Smith. But we might get to that later. Either way. Other than that, nobody overlaps between Doctors in the modern era as a traveling companion. Yaz actually makes it a point not to see the 13th Doctor regenerate by just piecing out just beforehand. See, Yaz was pretty clearly in love with 13, and the implication was Yaz didn't want the Doctor to become someone different, especially a different sex. Okay, so let's break this modern era into parts. Let's start with the first season, which is the Ninth Doctor's only season and Rose's first. There are many fans who take a position of, quote, don't skip 9, end quote. And while I think there are some real gems in there, the special effects, especially in the first episode, are really rough to watch. If you're willing to watch any of it, and I think you should, I would vote Dalek, episode 6, The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances, a two-parter over eps 9 and 10, and the last 2 episodes, Bad Wolf and The Parting of the Ways, as the best/most important stories of the bunch. With the first 2 episodes, Rose and The End of the World, rounding out the top 5 suggestions. The Unquiet Dead would be my pick if I could suggest you watch at least 6 of the 13 episodes, but, tried to limit my suggestions. Story-wise, the Ninth Doctor is a broken man, clearly dealing with, post-traumatic stress from the Time War that happened between the TV movie in the 90s and the return of the show in 2005. Rose, as a companion, is a young working-class woman who runs away with him and falls for him along the way. Her mother, Jackie, and on-and-off boyfriend, Mickey, they play a role, as well as keeping her connected to contemporary Earth. Basically, Rose and the Doctor travel together. And then he dies. That brings us to the first easy jumping on point for many. David Tennant's run as the 10th Doctor. No disrespect to the 9th Doctor. Christopher Eccleston brought the show back. But that first season of Tennant with Rose has some of my all-time favorite episodes. Specifically, School Reunion, The Girl in the Fireplace, and the 2-parter The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit. Other than that, The Christmas Invasion is a good post-regeneration episode to establish that this is still the Doctor, and it gives Rose a reason to stay on the show. But I suggest maybe skipping it to see New Earth and the episode Tooth and Claw, the first and second proper episodes of the season. Tooth and Claw especially also sets up the arc for the season, if you are considering watching most or the whole thing. Honestly, though, you can skip Idiot's Lantern, Love and Monsters, and Fear Her. This is the third quarter or so of the season. If you care about Rose, watch Rise of the Cybermen plus the Age of Steel 2-parter, along with Army of Ghosts / Doomsday, the 2-part finale. But honestly, otherwise, we could move on to the next season, which is also our next jumping on point. See, The Runaway Bride is a post-Rose Christmas episode. And as a story, besides establishing how broken up the Doctor is, it introduces Donna Noble, played by the terrific Catherine Tate, who will be the companion in the 4th season. But because this is the 3rd, a better spot would probably be the episode Smith and Jones, first one of the series, Series 3, where we meet the new companion, medical student and later doctor, Martha Jones. Oh, Martha, Martha, Martha. Very divisive companion here. And while the second episode, The Shakespeare Code, and the final 3 episodes, Utopia, The Sound of Drums, and the ominously named Last of the Time Lords, are some classic episodes, in my opinion. And the Human Nature / Family of Blood 2-parter, where the Doctor becomes human at the dawn of World War I, is fascinating. The only must-see episode is Blink. Blink was a big break for actress Carey Mulligan and introduced us to one of the great villains of Doctor Who, the Weeping Angels. It is scary and standalone. Arthur Neil Gaiman summed it up once when pitching the greatness of Doctor Who as, quote, "Sit down, shut up, and watch Blink," end quote. I would really, really suggest, though, you watch the final 3 episodes. I can't exactly tell you why, but it matters, and they're quite good. Now, unless you're a huge fan of Kylie Minogue or the Titanic, the ship, not the film, you can skip Voyage of the Damned. And that brings us to season 4, and back to Donna. A lot of these episodes with David Tennant and Catherine Tate stand on their own. Highlights include Fires of Pompeii, set at Pompeii, which includes a lot of work by 2 actors who were later recast and played a companion and a doctor, respectively. One played Amy, one played the 12th Doctor. For Martha fans, the Sontaran Stratagem and Poison Sky, that's a 2-parter, are a fun follow-up after she leaves at the end of season 3. Midnight is what people call a bottle episode. It's self-contained, usually with less money spent on sets or cast. It's a personal favorite of mine, of David Tennant's run as the Doctor. Turn Left is terrific. Donna-focused episode. But probably could be missed as the opening of the finale 2-parter, Stolen Earth / Journey's End, retells you the relevant plot points, basically at the end of the episode. The must-see episodes are that 2-part finale. And, this is important, the earlier Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead 2-parter. The library episodes introduce us to River Song, which is the most important thing that happens in the season, even though that plot won't actually get picked up again for about 2 calendar years in season 5. Then comes the 5 goodbye specials for David Tennant. And I would argue you can skip those unless you are really digging Tennant. Waters of Mars is the best of the bunch, in my opinion. But the End of Time 2-parter is the only one that matters really at all plot-wise. Don't watch it unless you watched the end of season 3, though, with Last of the Time Lords and Sound of the Drums. So at this point, Tennant leaves, and also so does the showrunner, Russell T Davies, usually also known as RTD. Davies ran the show since it debuted in 2005, and now the author of episodes The Empty Child / The Doctor Dances, Girl in the Fireplace, Blink, and the library episodes, all of which I say are important / really great episodes. A man named Stephen Moffat, who's otherwise best known for writing the show Sherlock, he took over Doctor Who, starting with the 11th Doctor in season 5. Okay, let's talk about Matt Smith's 11th Doctor. The 5th and 6th season have some exceptional stories, and for the most part are pretty tight, connected story arc. Companions for these two are Amy Pond and Rory Williams, and they change and grow a lot over it. Rory especially. Amy's the bigger deal, but Rory, Arthur Daville gives a lot of interesting work on that character. There's also an epilogue of sorts for those two in the first 5 episodes of season 7. I guess 6 episodes if you count the very skippable special, The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. And while some episodes are more rewatchable or able to be isolated than others, I think there is value in watching Smith's run straight through if he is your cup of tea. If, at the very least, I would suggest, of seasons 5 and 6, the 11th hour, that's the name of the first episode, to meet Smith's doctor, Vincent and the Doctor, to have a good, ugly cry from a truly beautiful piece of television, and The Doctor's Wife by Neil Gaiman, who I mentioned before as an author. Plot-wise, instead of just talking about great TV or the 11th hour, again, the 2-part season finale of The Pandora Opens / The Big Bang, the 2-part season 6 opener, The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon, the mid-season finale, A Good Man Goes to War, its follow-up in the amazingly named Let's Kill Hitler, and the season 6 finale, The Wedding of River Song. All told, that gives you the arc of the story that Moffat was telling very well. You'll miss a lot of great character work, and likely will have to pay extra attention to the previously on clips, especially if you jump to A Good Man Goes to War from either Day of the Moon on my purely plot-related list or Doctor's Wife if you're watching the good TV episodes, or both. But you will get the essentials from those episodes in the previously ons. And you'll have a lot of River Song from the library. In fact, other than the Time of Angels plus Flesh and Stone 2-parter in early season 5, I believe it's the second and third story, I think you'll catch all of her appearances with these episodes. Now, I mentioned the idea of an epilogue. Amy and Rory leave the show during season 7. And it sort of breaks the season into 2 parts. And while I don't love all those episodes, the premiere, Asylum of the Daleks, is important. And Angels Take Manhattan ends their story. Then the next Christmas episode, The Snowman, it starts getting a plotline that was teased in Asylum of the Daleks. It starts getting it going. And that is the focus of the second part or half of the season. That focus, specifically, is a woman named Clara Oswald, or Clara. The episodes that I mentioned before, Asylum and Angels Take Manhattan, plus The Bells of St. John, The Rings of Akatan, and The Name of the Doctor. Sorry, I said Angels before. Asylum of the Daleks and The Snowman, plus The Bells of St. John, Rings of Akatan, and The Name of the Doctor. They explain this seemingly impossible woman's role in the Doctor's life, and are probably my top suggestions if you're not willing to just watch the whole of season 7 post Amy and Rory. I won't spoil anything because I really think you should watch it. But Name of the Doctor, which is the season finale and answers a lot of the questions asked, though in the second half of season 7, it tees up the 50th anniversary special, known as The Day of the Doctor. After that, there is Matt Smith's farewell episode in Time of the Doctor. Those are both big episodes. Obviously, Day of the Doctor, being a 50th anniversary special, is a huge deal. So much so that it involves David Tennant's 10th Doctor returning to the show, but the end of a Doctor's era is always poignant or memorable, or at least important to the story. And now we turn to 6 seasons, 4 Christmas specials, 3 New Year's specials, 1 Easter special, and a 100th birthday to the BBC, quote, centenary special, end quote, that are controversial to say the least. These are places you could jump on. They are the beginning, they are 2 different Doctor's eras. Peter Capaldi, the 12th Doctor, is under the previous showrunner Stephen Moffat. And Jodie Whittaker, aka the 13th, her run is under a new one named Chris Chibnall. And between them, they take the show to a lot of places. And in the case of Jodie Whittaker, that includes being squarely in the crosshairs of people who have very negative opinions about words like diversity and wokeness. So Capaldi traveled with Clara for 2 more seasons. And while his material wasn't always the best, he performed it with a passionate intensity that really only a lifelong fan who's also a terrific actor like Capaldi could muster. Episode-wise, the essentials are probably 3 of the first 4. Deep breath into the Dalek and listen, along with Mummy on the Orient Express, great title, and the Dark Water / Death in Heaven finale, which as the most important / best in season 8. For season 9, the second Capaldi season, I'd go with the opening 2-parter, Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar, the mid-season Zygon Invasion, Zygon Inversion, though I should note that does require you to have seen the Day of the Doctor Anniversary special, just because of what happens in the one is essential to the other. Just FYI. And the final 2 episodes of the season, Heaven Sent and Hellbent, as all being great / important. Indeed, Heaven Sent might well be the best episode the show has had since 2011. You should also see the Husband of River Song special that came afterwards to see the effective end of that character arc, and to see Capaldi interact with River. There is a storyline that leads into Heaven Sent and Hellbent that I am skipping over. Some fans would be pretty upset with me. If you like Maisie Williams of Game of Thrones fame, you can definitely watch it. Those episodes are... sorry, let me just find the name of the episodes. Sorry. The Girl Who Died and The Woman Who Lived. And then, as a follow-up, Face the Raven, the 5th, 6th, and 10th episodes of the season. After that, though, Clara leaves, and a woman named Bill Potts, which, yeah, it's a strange name, but that's her name, joined the TARDIS. And with all due respect, the only episodes that really rate here, in my opinion, are Capaldi's final 3 episodes. 1, World Enough and Time. Weird title, I know. 2, The Doctor Falls. Ominous. And 3, Twice Upon a Time. You should probably throw in the season premiere called The Pilot, as well so that you know who Bill is and what she's all about. I would argue Thin Ice is another noteworthy addition if you're so inclined. Okay. So they're just, the show was changing at that point. And that brings us to the first official proper female Doctor, Jodie Whittaker. As I said, Stephen Moffat left the show. Chris Chibnall took over as showrunner. There was a new Doctor. Definitely a place you can jump on to. The best sampling I can suggest for her run is the first 4 episodes. That is, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, The Ghost Monument, Rosa, as in Rosa Parks, and Arachnids in the UK. Along with Demons of the Punjab and The Witchfinders. Along with the New Year's special, they switched from Christmas to New Year's, Resolution of the 11th season. That's all that. So that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then Spyfall, the terrifically named Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, and the final run of episodes The Haunting of Villa Diodati, Ascension of the Cybermen, The Timeless Children, and I guess Revolution of the Daleks, to give you a good understanding of the arcs of the ordinary seasons of her run and what Chibnall was trying to do. I stress ordinary, as season 13, series 13, however you want to call it, was really a single miniseries called Flux. Flux. I can't really say too much about it and stay spoiler free, but it, along with the Timeless Children finale of season 12, is what critics of Chibnall's showrunning and Whittaker's Doctor generally tend to focus on when they're not talking about female/minority representation and ideology. Anyway, it ends with Power of the Doctor, which I think was a very nice way to end their shared era of showrunner and Doctor. This was that centenary special that I mentioned, and as a result, it brings back old school companions. It says goodbye to some, to others. The show's legacy is represented in some interesting ways, and it lets 13 bow out in a fascinating way, especially given that the show is changing again. And now, after the anniversary of BBC, we are back to an anniversary special with David Tennant returning. But this time it's the 60th, and he's not as the 10th Doctor, but now as the new 14th. RTD, Russell T Davies, is back as showrunner. And indeed, Davies writes all these specials, and most of the next season as well with Ncuti Gatwa. So these 3 specials, and the show since then, are on Disney Plus here in the States. Unlike all of the ones I've mentioned before, which in the US is on Max. Classic shows are on Tubi, but that's not here right now. You basically have to see all 3 of the specials to catch up here. Not getting a spoilery, but Donna, Catherine Tate's character, is involved as well in this season, because that was the last full season Russell T Davies made. Finally, that brings us to the current season with Ncuti Gatwa, Ncuti, as I understand it, there's like a N sound, and then the word Shuti, like as an N hyphen SHOOTIE, but spelled in a Rwandan way, because he's a Rwandan Scottishman. He is the 15th Doctor. I think, given that the season is currently ongoing, I can't say which episodes are key / skippable. But my suggestion is that if you're jumping on with the 14th Doctor / 60th anniversary specials, or skipping over Matt Smith and or Capaldi and or Jodie, whatever you might do, you should probably just watch them all, as there are not that many of them yet. 8-episode season, 3 New Year's special, 3 specials. And with all that, we have, I try to, completed a lightning round guide to the key points of the modern era of Doctor Who, from 2005 to present. I tried my best to avoid most spoilers, while giving you the overall structure of how the show has gone over the last 19 years. I really wanted to give you a place to get on / off and have some idea what the key bits are to know of what is going on in Doctor Who, should you not just be willing to dive in and binge this crazy world in full. And so, in the next episode, I'm going to try something a bit crazy myself, and certainly more ambitious. I'm going to give you a guide to the classic run of 1963 to 1989 of Doctor Who. Though I'll probably have to mention the TV movie as well. The Doctors, the main eras and arcs, the best stories, and where you might consider popping in or out should you want to check out that version of Doctor Who. The one that made me fall in love with the adventures of this crazy madman in a blue box. So please, subscribe so you don't miss my biggest podcasting project ever, and certainly here on EITM Pod. If you want to help me make more, bigger, and better episodes, at the most basic level, just keep listening, and please tell your friends about the show. But if you're willing to help out monetarily, you can go to ko-fi.com/EITM pod. But either way, just please give Doctor Who a chance, okay? Okay. Thanks again. God bless, and best of luck out there.